I tell you.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Welcome everybody to GoGo Talks, brought to you by GoGoTix. I'm your host Malachi Johns. We're here today with Terrance Super Coop Cooper. Let me play these spots real quick, and then we're gonna come right back and talk to Coop. All right, there we go. Now that we got that out of the way, everybody go get your GoGo as fuck t-shirts. Coop, I gotta send you one. I'm gonna make that happen for you. How you doing today, man? You good?
Hey man, hanging in there.
That's what's up.
It's hanging in there, man. It's hot down here.
Yeah. It's a little warm out here too. I think it's what's the temperature out there today?
Not sure, but it's beaming around 80s, almost close to 90.
Oh wow, yeah, even worse than out here. We're at 70. So
wow,
70. So but it was 90 the other day though. But that's what's up. That's what's up. Well, so thank you for coming on, sir. I appreciate you, man.
Hey, thank you, man. Hey, man. I'm proud of you, Mally. For building, and thank you for building this platform. To get our stories out, network. You know what I'm saying, with other people, man. This is big. I watch you grow, man. So
that's what's up, man.
You doing your thing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, man. Well, you're a hell of an inspiration. So thank you for being that. So why don't you, if you can, give us a history of your your time in the go-go and just music industry in general.
Well, high school, everybody back then, this was, the late 80s, everybody wanted to be in DC anyway. Everybody wanted to be either a part of a band or trying to put together a band, you know what I'm saying? So always was a fan of the music. My first song I heard was set in 76 was E flat boogie. You know what I'm saying? 70, 76, 78. Yeah, 78 probably. E flat book 76. E flat boogie, man. Trouble Funk, man. And
not to make you feel old or anything, but that's when I was born.
Hey, man. Well, I wasn't, I was a kid, so that was some, it was some things that when I heard that, I was like, man, that was big. So I started buying all the records and just started loving the music. Chuck Brown, Trouble Funk, EU. So once I got in high school, I wanted to, put my own band together. You know what I'm saying? So I had some. It was short term because it was, we get the guys and start practicing and stuff like that, and just never really could put it all the way together. So I was living in Northeast, so I moved uptown. And when I moved uptown, I was around like 86, and around 87, I woke up to a block party. And when I went down to the end of the block, I lived on Perry Place, and I went down to the end of the block. It was Home E Place, and a band was playing, and it was some guys, some young kids on the buckets, and so I was like, they was cranking, and I was like, so after they finished, I was like, who's y'all manager? And they pointed to this lady named Gwen, and Gwen. So I went to Gwen, told her a little bit about my background as far as, the music, and I had a couple of buddies that I had named that could probably help the guys learn, teach them how to play music. Chucky Thompson was one. That was a buddy of mine before he went out to Bad Boy.
Well,
So
wait
Chucky,
wait 1 second. I want to slow you down for just a second. The band that you played in before this, or that you had before this, did you play in the band? Were you a musician, or you were the manager, or what did you
no,
do?
I was, I wanted to be part of the band, so I played the percussion, back up on the mic,
Mhm. So
just
just whatever needed to be done.
whatever
That's what you were doing.
whatever they needed me to do. You know what I'm saying? But I always put the band together. Me and
Mhm.
a buddy of mine named Chris Wade. He was back in the day. He was one of my best friends. Me, Chris, and Philip, and I know Chucky Thompson for a while when he was playing with, Petworth and Air Raid and all them bands like that. So we was always trying to put a band together. We even, I patched up a band back then, right out of high school, called DC Madness, and we went out Philly, played at a homecoming, and and can you see me?
I can see your picture froze up. I see you pressing. Like, is that people texting you?
Nah, my I gotta keep hitting the. Hold on, I just gotta keep hitting the daggone. Hold on.
Okay, because if you put your phone on airplane mode, yeah, because sometimes when people text you, it interrupts the thing. So that's why you gotta put your phone on airplane mode. Can you hear me? All right, let me try to get him back in here again real quick. Okay, you
Am
good?
I breaking?
Yeah, yeah,
Huh?
you. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me get this. Let me get this. Get the other one out of there. All right, bet. Okay, cool. Should be good now. So you were always putting the bands together.
Yeah, yeah. I
Where do you
was. I
think
was.
where do you think that came from though? Like where do you think your desire to be the one putting the bands together came from? Like where did that so I guess leadership quality if you put that.
Well. I probably felt because in '76 I'm 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So when you 8 and then you in the elementary school band and you the captain of that band, and then you move into. I've always been the captain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've always been like the marching band, the drum leader, or a major part of the drums. You know what I'm saying? Or
Mm-hmm.
safety patrol. I was, you know what I'm saying? It was just always like I'm in charge. When I went on the basketball court, who you got, Coop? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Always, I was the one that they came to if a one street wanted to battle another street in basketball or football. They always came to
Mm-hmm.
me to pick the team.
Interesting.
So, um, I've always had that quality. I've always, even when I worked at People's Drug, I became manager at 19. I had my own store at 19.
Mm-hmm.
So once I got to be a manager at People's Drug, I started hiring all the go-go players.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that needed a job, they came to me, and I hired them. You know what I'm saying? So, but to go backwards, I've always been that guy. And
Mm-hmm.
so at the block party, it was backyard playing.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady Gwen, I was like, I offered my help. I said, well, hey, I want to help the band out. I got a couple of buddies that can probably teach them, you know, some can help. You know what I'm saying? So we and she was like, sure. So once that happened, I started going to their rehearsals, and I called Chucky and I was like, Chucky, you gotta hear this band, man. Like I got. So Chucky said, bring them down my basement. So I was like, all right. So I brought them down the basement. And after they rehearsed, Chucky was like, well, "What you gonna do with him?" I said, "Man, I'm just helping Gwen."
So who was
So
Gwen? Was she was she related to somebody or she
she
just
was she was the one of the keyboard players, Goldie. She was his. I think that was Goldie's mother or aunt, if I'm not mistaken. I think Gwen was his mother.
And so what was the makeup of the band when you started with them? Who all was in the band?
Um, they had a drummer. They had a drummer named Rondell.
Mm-hmm.
They had a guy named Billy on the buckets. They had a guy named Twan on keyboards. They had Goldie on the keyboards. They had E-Dub on the buckets. They had G Love, Black, uh, Hook, Taiwan, um, Genghis. They was just from around the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
So
They had another guy named Alvin on the keyboard, and then the keyboard player that plays with them now, he had played with a group called Young Impressions. He was going between Young Impressions and Backyard. He kept going back and forth, and
this
when I came, EB, yeah,
okay.
yeah. So, um,
So G and EB, G and EB were the only two members at that time that are still with the band right now. Is that right?
right,
Okay.
right. Once I got there and started helping Gwen, uh, um, and started going to their rehearsals and seeing the progress, the band had wanted me to kind of, because I was bringing around Chucky and I was bringing around those type of guys, helping them, and they was like, man, we kind of want you to manage the band. So I was like, well, what about Gwen? And they was like, well, we'll let Gwen know. So they had a vote, and one day, I had told Gwen, hey, they want me to manage, and I wasn't trying to bump nobody, I was just wanted to help.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, good luck. And me and Gwen always been, cool, and she's a nice lady. She had worked at the Giant up on 14th Street and was always a nice lady. And up until the day, we see each other, we might hug, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
But so I started putting a plan in place, and like, hey, you guys gotta, start putting rules in place, and the band changed up a little bit because, some of the guys had got in trouble, and what I'm saying, they had to focus on life other than music. You know what I'm saying? Like they had to focus on. So I started, Hot Sauce was always one of the guys around. He lived around the corner from Chucky, so we was always like, Sauce, I'm gonna bring you up. And then White Mike, he came to rehearsal one time. It was a bass line that we wanted our keyboard player to to play, and he couldn't really play it. And Mike was like, man, I know I can play it. And Sauce brought Mike, and Mike was like, Mike got on the keyboard, played the bass line, and he been in the band ever since. And we went through a few.
It's funny how those things happen. I mean, it's not just GoGo, but it seems even more pronounced in GoGo, where it's just like, like this person got put in the band because they had a car, or this person got put in the band because they could play this bass line or whatever. I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but I want to go slow because I put up a question yesterday about what things do people. I mean, specifically, I was asking about what answers to questions do people want to know about how to move GoGo outside of just the DMV? But somebody asked me about, like how did the OG bands become the OG bands? So since you were, there for most of the formative years of basically that, the hottest band in the city right now, I want to go real slow and nitpick this so that people can, that are listening can get some value out of it. So you said that the first you said that you were watching their progression. So at that point, when you were just watching them progress, what was it that was making them progress? Like, how were they, because there's a lot of bands that play and rehearse, but they don't progress. They just sort of stay where they are. So what was it about Backyard that they were doing that was making them progress? And then you mentioned also that you felt like you had to institute some rules. Like, what were those rules and how did they play to further progress?
Well, number one, they always looked up to Junkyard.
Mm-hmm.
And Junkyard, I mean, their whole statue, their whole model, I mean, was discipline and precision. And when you want to become something, you put something in front of you, and you work just as hard. I mean, their practices was so. I mean, it was hard practices. I mean, we would stop and if it didn't sound right, we'd try to figure out who is who is not in tune, or tune your bass or tune your keyboard up, or you know they I mean, they really studied hard. They studied the bands before them. They
How,
didn't just
how
put a
often?
band together.
How often did they rehearse, and how long were their rehearsals normally? Just because I had Damon
um
Jeff on a couple weeks ago, and he was saying, when Northeast was starting out, they would rehearse all day,
yeah,
multiple
yeah.
times a week.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, yeah, we would do one song for 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like, we would do one groove for 2 hours. Like, hey man, what's going on? I mean, to the point where, I mean, it was to the point where I had tears in my eyes because of how they perfected it. Like,
Mhm.
it was like, it was crazy, man. So it's like they just, they looked at, they saw Rare Essence. They wanted to be on that big stage.
Mhm.
Um, they wanted it. They wanted it. And then the rehearsals was like, it wasn't no, oh, we rehearsed 2 hours, and I might talk for 2 hours first before they even pick up a stick.
Mhm.
Like, yeah. So it was like, and we didn't know where this was going to take us.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't know. It was like,
But
man, we just,
the goal was what Junkyard and what Rare Essence were doing at the time.
yeah. And where they were, you know what I'm saying? At that time, it was like, Genghis had he had a goal. Like, I mean, Genghis wanted to be, an actor. He wanted to model. He wanted to be, but
So he wanted
he
to be
could.
an actor way back then in the
Oh yeah,
80s.
I,
Okay.
I I had to slow him down. One time he gave me a whole list. I was like, hold up. I said, man, but I
Well,
mean, we even went as far as like like I mean, later down, once he started, um uh once he started going into that avenue, that lane of acting and stuff like that. I mean, we went to lawyers, and we started reading books, and you know what I'm saying, and we looked at people like, you know just different national artists, on how they had different managers for different, you know we just started learning because things were starting to happen. But
Mhm.
back then, you know the difference between back then and now, those groups came from neighborhoods.
Mhm.
Like, they was already, you know, they was already spending the night over each other houses before they even put a band together.
Right,
They was
right.
already they was already brothers. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, when I came, I was the stranger. I was like, but then they respected what I did. You know what I'm saying? They
Mhm.
respected hey, I care about what y'all care about.
Right.
So if y'all had, personal issues, I took on all that. Like, I was the Joe Clock. I was the Brady Bunch father. I was everything. You know what I'm saying? I was the uncle. I was the big brother. You know what I'm saying? So
Well,
I took on.
real quick, well, first I just wanted to let you know, in case you can't see the chat. So we got Big Youngin on here. Said
Yeah.
what's up. We got Brooks from Reaction on here. We got Brian Mills from Secret Society on here. My man Chris,
Hey.
we got Chris Birch, Create DC Chris on here, who
Mhm.
thank you to him for introducing me to this platform that we're using right now for this
Yeah.
interview. Also over on Instagram, we got Black Bo from TCB. He said, Big Coop, much respect. You helped him out a lot early back in the days when he was 14 or 15 years old on the radio. So big shout out.
Southeast Sound.
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody that's on Instagram, make sure you head over to youtube.com/GoGoTix. You can see the other side of the conversation. Coop is way cooler than me. He got his shades on and everything. So, you can only see my ugly face on the Instagram. So make sure you head over to YouTube. It's pinned in the comments at the top, youtube.com/GoGoTix. So head over there so you can see both sides of the interview. Hey, old school Queenie. So I'm interested to know, though, because you referenced the rules. So what were the rules that were put in place? And when you're talking about the discipline and rehearsal about, stand on one song for 2 hours, or maybe talking about what's going on for 2 hours. What was that happening before the rules that you instituted? And then if so, like, what were the rules that you instituted that you felt were good? Because there are people watching that, that are in bands and they want to be successful, and they need to know, like, what should they be doing to, to make sure that they have a best shot at being successful. So what were the
Well,
rules?
well, back then, most of them was still in high school.
Right.
So it was just like a basketball coach. Hey, y'all got good grades, or
Right. Right.
y'all ain't gonna be in a band, or
Right.
y'all gotta be on time, or or you might lose your spot. I mean, I was I was I was I was strict back then, but it was a fun type of strict
Mm-hmm.
because you know they were they were some kids. I just love what they did. I mean, I love the hunger. You know what I'm saying? So when they was late, I give them a little look, and I had them worried about whether they was gonna be in the band or not. But they, it built to that because before we set the rules, it was plenty of talks
Mm-hmm.
about what's going on, how what I'm saying, like it sometimes it don't have to be about the music, just be about life. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, like you know what's going on out, you know what I'm saying, because I came into um some kids that they knew each other before I knew them, so I
Right.
had to really get to learn, what I'm saying, who they were, you know what I'm saying. So I started to learn each individual, who they were, where they lived at, their parents, stuff like that. um so coming from kids, it was kind of, you kind of can set the rules, you know what I'm saying, because they looking now, they looking at Coach Carter, they looking at the coach now, they like, okay, this dude,
Well,
and took us down Chucky Basement, and he got a few people that he know, you know what I'm saying. So
so Chucky at the time was playing for. This was obviously pre Bad Boy. I assume he
right,
was playing with Petworth and who else was
air
he?
raid, he was
Payroll.
sitting with Rassens. I mean, he was a local producer. He was a hot producer before, you know, anything anyway. And once you go down his basement, I mean, whatever you didn't know about him. I mean, he played everything, the drums. He knew the beats. He created, for real. He created that disciplined sound of EB and Mike on the keyboards, because he was
Mhm.
like, okay, when that 8 come, I need that horn shot to, and they taught themselves, but with Chucky sitting back there, because Chucky was like, I said, Chuck, you're gonna have to sit back there with him.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And just, so some of the stuff rubbed off of his experience, and his style rubbed off on them. He
Mhm.
kind of really, you know, uh, brought in that sample phase of learning how to play with samples, and
Mhm. Mhm.
man, it was crazy. I mean, we was doing big boy stuff at a young age, man. Like
So what?
we was dropping the 808s, and EB, went out and got the best keyboards, and Mike was going to get the best keyboards, and it was on. Chucky sat back there. He played with Chuck Brown. He was the Congo player
Yep.
in GoGo Live. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying?
I
So
remember that.
he knew how to play on that big stage.
Right.
So he helped them a lot. I give Chucky credit. But once he went up to Bad Boy and went up New Jersey and New York, he lived in New Jersey. But once he went up there, I was like, hey, you know, this is how it's supposed to be, because so I wasn't an MD, but I was kind of, so you know what I'm saying? Like I would just be like, something ain't right. Hold on. I was
Right.
like, I Chucky discipline rubbed off on me. But they already had the potential. They already had the beats down. They already had the junkyard rubbed off of them. Red Essence rubbed it. If I
Well,
would say,
that's what I was going to ask real quick.
yeah,
at this point. So you said Junkyard and Rare Essence were who they were looking up to. So at
Yeah.
this point, what are Junkyard and Rare Essence doing? Like at what point of their career are they at? And so what is it that Backyard is looking up to in them at this point? This is what year was this? Is this like, you know, Junkyard with Def Jam and Rare Essence with, you know, Island or whoever they were signed
Right.
with, or is this before that or after that? I'm trying to get an idea for where we set our sights as on goal.
Yeah, this was before Capitol Center. This was Junkyard on 19th and M.
Okay.
Playing on the corner. Like, they wanted to be, you know, they was like, hey man, we need some new buckets. So when I came, it was more so like, hey, you know, we gotta separate ourselves a little bit. So let's get some real instruments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we could still be Backyard, but let's get some real instruments and let's kind of separate ourselves. But I like the fact that, you know, if Rare Essence and Junkyard got married, they had a baby. It was Backyard.
Yep. Yeah. So who was so when the new instruments, when EB and Mike were buying keyboards and stuff, were they buying their own or
Yeah. I mean, through hookups, you know what I'm saying? Like, once we got pretty much, I might have knew somebody that worked at the, you know, and back then, man, you know, we bought some and we got some hot.
I got. Now I only ask because, and I'm gonna get to this later about what the role of a manager is, but there seems to be a lot of misconception about the fact that a manager is supposed to be the financier of everything. So I just wanted to know, were you buying that stuff back in the day, or were they getting their own? That's the reason why.
Well, once the money started coming through, you know what I'm saying, then I didn't want them to have to worry about nothing.
So when did that happen? When did you know that, like, or when did money start coming in? Like, when was the band able to start playing professionally and actually making money? You know, how long after you got there, and what was the catalyst that made that happen?
Well, they were doing their own shows at Number 10 Boys and Girls Club. Thank to Mitch, my man Mitch Cradle. He was the detective police back then, and he would let them do stuff at the Number 10 Boys and Girls Club. So they would share the money then. It wasn't a lot of money, but they did their own shows at Lapina, and so whatever monies came in, it was always like to help with rehearsals and stuff. That's how it started. And it grew. My first big show was that we made money was Walk Jam. Walk Jam is a big part of the history of Backyard, because, you know, G used to practice down his basement, and Walk Jam kind of like screwed the name Backyard, gave them a place to practice, but G always told the story that Walk Jam kicked him out the basement. So it's always been a joke back then, but Walk Jam was a catalyst. And Walk Jam did a show with me one day up Lapina. And Walk Jam always been, you know, he was Northwest Youngins, and he's always been he used to be like one of the top rappers back then on the mic.
Really? I didn't
know. Yeah. Nah, Walk Jam was like Bugs back then. Him, Andre Little, Walk Jam was the man back then. So around the way, it was always, you know, the little rivalry with Backyard and Northwest Youngins. All of them was on buckets. But anyway, me and Walk Jam became friends, and he was like, man, let's do a show up to Lapina. So Lapina was Backyard used to do all the block parties, Number 10 Boys and Girls Clubs, and you know, they would get like about 100 people. So, you know, Lapina might have held 500. So we sold it out. And at the end of the night, after the bills was paid, Walk Jam got it first started off like Walk Jam got $500, I got 500. Then I was like, damn, okay, let's do it again.
Right.
and it just kept growing. And one day it was like 1,500. I got 1,500. So now with my 1,500, hey, we need some new equipment. So whatever we needed, you know what I'm saying? Like we would focus on that. The band wasn't getting paid. I mean, nobody was walking away with, uh, it was like, okay, this is what we made. And, let's, like I would just pop off and one day when Buggy got in the band, we needed a new drum set. And he picked out the one that cost 3,700.
Of course.
I'm like, yeah, Buggy, that's the one you want. I was like, yeah. You like, yeah. So, me being the manager and me, you know, being a financial person in the group, because at that point it was more like when you first come in, you really don't know. There's nothing consistent. Like we was playing for $100 down at Safari Club for years. Like just give me $100. I just wanted to be somewhere, and I would pay the sound man. So it's easy to charge $100. You know what I'm saying? Or go back up Lapina and try to do your own show and be responsible for the bills or whatever. But it was like from I'm gonna say if I came around 87, I mean the guys probably ain't really start getting paid till probably 93, 6 years.
6 years. So even they were
like a payroll, like a payroll
right.
or something. It was we always needed something.
Right.
And we always had to, you know what I'm saying? And whatever it was like, okay, let's just get, we got this amount of money, or, we was renting equipment, or, you know what I'm saying? It just wasn't enough to be consistent. Like, okay, here go $50 a show.
Right.
It wasn't, because I never knew what we was worth until we started consistently doing our own thing. So most of these promoters are trying to get you to play for free, and so I would go out in Maryland for free, or just pay the sound man, or you know what I'm saying. I wasn't really, I was just trying to plant a lot of seeds. That's just like a label, you on a promo tour. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we everywhere. I mean, we would play 4 times a day, from block party to Southeast, to come back over Northwest, and and once that happened, then the school started calling. Then I had to put a price on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Once the school called, yeah.
But up to this point, so from 87 to 93, when you said you were starting to get paid, so you guys were playing a lot of shows, and the band members were okay with not making any money, because they knew they were building towards something, because they had a goal that they wanted to be rehearse or Junkyard.
Well, I can't remember in between, but they'd come to me, you know what I'm saying? It was more so like, if I need something, I'm gonna come to Coop, because they knew, yeah, it was a goal. It was a goal, but they knew also that, that it was inconsistent. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, like a couple of band members will come to you and be like, "Hey man, we've been playing for a long time, man. Don't you think we need to start?" And I'm like, "Yeah. So let's figure it out." And they started to become popular, and I started to because I put a price on it after we did our own shows at Lapina. I said, well, we at least worth $500. So once I started putting that price on it, and it started coming consistently, that's when I can give the band members some. But they knew they could come to me anytime about anything. So it wasn't like, they wasn't worried. They was like, man, I need $100. If I need something, I'm gonna go to Coop.
Right. The reason I asked is because, so my man, it's a couple of people on here, but my man Ice is on here. And when you were talking about Walk Jam, I don't know if you remember, but my old band Occupation from Annapolis, you and Walk Jam brought us up to open for Backyard at the Lapina, and I still remember, you looking at me when we came in, and I wasn't even like in a management position or anything. I was just a guitar player, but I don't know why you said it to me, but like the whole Annapolis was lined up along the wall. And
Right.
you came up and looked at me. You like, all of them came with you? And I was like, yeah. I mean, it just wasn't even a surprise. But at the same time, like at that time when I was playing in the band, like I never made a penny playing in that band, but I never expected a penny. I just was playing because it was fun and I loved it. And we, you know what I mean? Even though now, knowing what I know now, like I would know that there were other people making money off of us because they were charging at the door and we never saw any of it. You know what I mean? But I wasn't sure because of the fact that you said, like with at least with me with the band occupation, I didn't really have a goal. Like I wasn't really trying to be like, oh, we're trying to be Backyard or we're trying to be Northeast Groovers. At least to me, I was just like, this is just fun. I'm playing in the band. I love this music and I want to keep doing it. But if you're in a band that has a goal, and I'm just saying that because I think it's a broader point of, and that's why I was asking about where Essence and Junkyard, where they were at that point, because it's like, every person that I talk to in GoGo, almost every person that I talk to in GoGo says they want more than just playing every week in DC. But then the strategies that they put in place to get to that point are the same strategies that are used to just play every week in DC. And they think that, that's why I was asking that.
Well, everybody got to get on the same page, because I'm telling you, you got 10 guys and 5 want to get out of here and 5 content.
Yep.
It ain't gonna work.
Right, which is nothing wrong. Like I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. There's absolutely nothing wrong with playing in DC 3-4 times a week and you make a living. And I think that's beautiful. I'm just saying that almost everybody that I talk to says that they want more than that. But yet they don't do what needs to be done to get more than that. If you are content playing, and I don't mean that as in a negative way. If you're cool with staying at home and making, $30,000 a year or whatever, playing locally, then more power to you. That's great. But okay, you can't complain that you're not Beyonce then.
Well, Mally, I think we talked about this before.
We sure have.
When you at the kids' age that they was teenagers, if I said we going to LA, they gonna be spending the night over my house.
Yep.
It's different when you like at this age. Some depends on where you at in your life as far as
for sure
your responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You just can't. Some people just can't pop up and leave.
Yep.
And that's where that same page is. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta find people that can, if and then they gotta get on that. They gotta do what it takes. Like me and you was talking about how some of them rock bands get in that van and they go city to city.
Yep, that was.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
some of these cats been in the game 20, 30 years, 20 years. They ain't getting in the van. They want flights. They want they want everything, and don't nobody know them in Chicago.
Yep.
They're not gonna take that risk. So and then they gotta be creative as far as music.
Yep.
I mean, come on, man. A go-go hit. When the last go-go hit?
Last one I remember was Welcome to DC, and it wasn't.
Yeah, you got Mumbo Sauce.
Wasn't a hit with where I wanted it to be a hit. I mean, it was a hit.
Yeah.
And I love it, but it wasn't what I was trying to do.
Yeah, but Backyard's Adele remix of Adele got some play.
True.
But it was remixed. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't really, if they not willing to get in that van and go city to city, man, and promote their music, they sitting in the house right now. They just sitting in there waiting for a call. That's not gonna happen. If they not being creative, and if they not willing to to get on that road and invest in themselves, that ain't gonna happen.
Right. Well,
So
I didn't mean to derail
no,
derail your story. I just thought it was interesting that as the the sort of formative years of Backyard's rise to dominance in DC, they had a goal in mind. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And they were
yeah.
working towards that goal. And I'm just saying that even if, like, maybe
You know what it remind me of, Mally?
what's
You
that?
know what it remind me of? It remind me of Jordan, the Jordan documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Backyard, not only the first, they understood, okay, the first GoGo Live, they not in that category. Second GoGo Live come to the Cap Center and they see Northeast Groove was on that thing, man. Genghis was heated. Oh, we practicing tomorrow.
Right.
We will not be denied anymore.
So what was the relationship with Northeast Groovers? Because I know Northeast
It was
called
it was it was it
Backyard
was man, it was respect, but it was like, man, we not letting them come uptown. Like they came to WST one time.
For people that don't know, that's where the
Hey,
9 Club is now. Yeah.
hey, 9:30, right? They came to WST, man, and they was hot in VA and Maryland. We was like, we uptown. We ain't letting them come uptown, man. They came in that joint on fire. They hit that Soul Train, that clap.
Yeah.
Me and Genghis looked at each other. Practice tomorrow. Practice tomorrow. We not playing. And one day it was me, Genghis, Rapper, and Dig Dug standing outside of Mad Chef one day till like the wee hours in the morning, talking about how they motivated us and we motivated them.
Steel sharpens steel. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, man, when y'all came out with something new, we was like, oh no. We, so after that second GoGo Live, when Northeast came out with the I Could Be Like Mike, we played at the Lapina that night. Genghis was like, oh no, we will not be denied anymore. Practice tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was that Jordan effect. Genghis got that Jordan effect. That's why he's who he is today.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wanted to be the best. You know what I'm saying? He always wanted to be the best in everything he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just there to try to help him. He was a knucklehead at times, but that's part of growing up. You know what I'm saying? I get a call, or Ging locked up, or Ging got shot, or so it was always something. And I gave him a job at CVS. I said, man, you're gonna work. So he tried that, but they come to work late. I gotta get rid of him. Look,
Right.
I'll meet you at the show. I'll meet you at the show tonight.
So you fired G.
Yeah, I had to fire all of them. All of them work for. Look, Sauce, everybody. All of them work for me. I had Foxy Rob. I had Foxy Rob from Chuck Brown. I had a couple of band members from other bands. G. I just told them, don't come in because you late too many times. And
let me ask you another question. At what year was G working at CVS?
That was like I'm gonna say 90, maybe 94.
Okay, so you said 93 is when you started realizing that you guys were making money, and then 94 he was working at CVS. So my question is, and this, I don't mean this in a negative way at all. I'm just talking about it from an analytical perspective. Right. What does it say about the economics of GoGo that one of the most prominent figures in GoGo that is playing, I assume, multiple times a week, 94. I was very aware of Backyard at the time. They were at the peak, but still had to work at CVS.
Well,
what does that say about the economics of GoGo?
My thing was, to keep them off the street as much as I could.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like anybody, all look, y'all ain't doing nothing. Get up in the morning, come to work,
Right.
get a
So it
check.
wasn't a money thing. It was just let me institute some kind of structure.
Right, right,
I got you.
right. So, because always kind of really told him like this is, treat this as a hobby. Hopefully we can make some real money one day.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to get a job. I mean, Wincy worked at Safeway in the seafood department for 20, 30 years, 20 years.
I was still working there when I played with you guys.
Yeah,
I remember that.
yeah. Get a job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Can
Build
I ask you a question? Why was the thought process get a job and not, hey, we're going to, because you're able to sort of sustain yourself off of this playing at night, like during the day, we're going to the studio, be your ass at 11 o'clock. We're writing songs and recording songs.
Because the money wasn't consistent enough.
Gotcha.
Like,
okay.
It was like a supplemental type thing. It wasn't 94 to 95. I mean, Payroll became Payroll in 96.
Gotcha.
95, 96. Payroll became like, oh.
Right.
At the end of the week, we getting this.
Right. Well, and I'm only saying that again, not to be critical. I'm just saying that to point out to people that are watching that, 94, 95, Backyard was pretty fucking popular. Like, I mean,
yeah.
I'm in Annapolis, and you guys were like the biggest shit going, like my favorite band.
I got sick in 95. So, yeah, in 95, that's when it all, Icy Ice, shout out to Icy Ice for helping me out when I was in the hospital. But all of that, Ibex and, it was on fire. And I couldn't believe it. But it was the hard work.
I just say that to say that at the height of one of the heights of GoGo's popularity in the mid 90s.
Yeah, but they wasn't working in CVS then. This was, they was already, once the band started getting busier, that's when they couldn't really come to work because it was like too strenuous. Like it was like,
gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was too much. So I was like, man, look, this thing about to take off, so y'all mind would take off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all mind would just, hey, don't worry about it. I'll see y'all at the show tonight.
For sure. Gotcha. Now I just was trying to get into the economics a little bit too. And I only say that because as much as
economics is tricky though. Still tricky. But when you get that run, I'm gonna tell you, Charlie Fenwick told me you only get a 6-month run.
Mm-hmm.
He always said that. Cool. And you gotta know what you're gonna do after that 6 months is over with. So, but I had to prove to him that we're gonna have a longer than a 6-month run. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah. But to some bands, it's a 6-month run. Because guess what? The next band is on your ass. They trying to, they trying to be where you trying to be at. Like TCB. When they first came, out, I was like, my man Sonny, he brought Polo to me. Polo knew G. We brought him, they came, we was at the end of the parking lot of the Icebox. And we was like, man, we trying to get with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to open up. So me and Sonny went to school together. And G and Polo knew each other. So it was kind of like a perfect thing. It's like, all right, shorty, we're going to put y'all on every show. And I meant it. Like, some bands don't do that. They play with us everywhere.
Right.
Next thing you know,
you gave Occupation a shot too at the Metro Club. I remember you said the only requirement is that you don't play longer than, because we got to start on time. You said your only requirement is that you stop when we say you stop.
And guess what? I did that too. I used to cut G off, the PA off. Like when we played in front of rehearsals or anybody, they told us to stop. I stopped. Now bands don't do that.
Right.
They disrespect. I'm gonna get my last song in. They
Right.
like, man, F y'all.
Right. Okay, well, so 96 is when payroll starts happening, and it's at
95,
95.
95, yeah, 95 is when payroll was happening.
Okay,
Like
and so people
G
can
starting to
live off of this.
G starting to know, okay, look, man, I need mine. I can't wait.
Right.
Hey, one day G got mad at Icy Ice. I'm in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I got a bunch of stories. I'm gonna write a book one day. I'm in the hospital,
Tell them. Mm-hmm.
and Icy Ice, they did a show up Suitland, and Icy Ice got to give the money to G. So I told Icy Ice what to give everybody, and G didn't like what Icy Ice gave. Oh, G took Icy Ice car, drove it home. Icy Ice called me. I'm in the hospital and say, "Hey, can you call G? He got my car." I said,
Just
"What?"
call them like that, like.
Yeah, I'm in the hospital, man. G took the man car. G say, "Man, he better pay me my money." And that's when we understood G wasn't playing. Like, hey man, you better give this man his money.
So it wasn't a set amount then, because otherwise he would
No,
have.
it wasn't a set amount, but once they start seeing his pack, don't walk up and give me no couple $100. I counted the heads in here.
Right, and I know how much it costs to get in here.
Yeah, so now you got to start figuring out. Like I had a meeting with everybody individually. Mm-hmm. Like, what would you be comfortable with getting paid? And they kind of knew, you know what I'm saying? So I would tally all that up, and then I would create a price for the band. I throw my little 2 cents, you know what I'm saying? My pay will be in the deposit. So I already got mine, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then I would make sure that their pay is in, and sometimes it worked that way. And sometimes, how a promoter come to you, Coop, I'm short. So I had to take a lot of stuff on the chin and be responsible, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, that's how I came up with my price. Because everybody started to say, okay, I'm comfortable with this during the week because I know the week is slow. But on the weekend, bang, bang.
Right.
Give me that bread.
Okay, so so 95 shit's popping, and then did you guys ever? Was there so by this time? So 96. What's the makeup of the band? This is still Bubba and Mike and EB, G Lo Swincy, and LJ's not there, right? It's still Bruce. Right? 96. Okay.
Yep.
And then. And Buggy. So how did Buggy? We sort of skipped over. How did Buggy get in the band again?
Well, like Buggy came like 90, 91.
Okay.
And G and Hook always loved. They seen Buggy play a few times. I saw him play, but I wasn't really into snatching band members back then. Right. But G was persistent on, like, no, in order for us to get to where we need to be, we need a drummer like Buggy.
Right.
And they knew his sister, and they knew Buggy. Huh?
Who was he playing? Who was Buggy playing with at the time?
Like different bands, Top Secret. Back then, you'll see him with a few of the Southeast bands. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But I saw him with Top Secret. I think it was another band. You probably had to ask Buggy, but
gotcha.
I wasn't into taking band members.
If you never answer my text to come on the show, I will ask him.
Yeah. So I think Buggy's sister worked downtown at Woody's or one of them Hex or one of them clothing stores. So they kept going downtown and like, can you, leaving him messages. And once he got the message, he always wanted to play with Sauce. He said, he was like, man, that was, they knew each other because Sauce used to live in Southeast too. So they would, him, Bojack and Buggy, and they would all hook up and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And one day we was like, man, Buggy came to rehearsal. He got to Sauce house first. I came there second. Sauce open the door and say, "Good God Almighty, he cranking." Sauce
Right.
say, "Man, this man is cranking." And
Right.
once Genghis and all Hook got over there, we had a drummer named Gary playing with us.
Mhm.
And Hook called Gary, was like, "Man, we moving on to another drummer." And you couldn't help it. It was like Buggy made the sound like he
Mhm.
made he made it impossible to not really. I mean, he 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 was the like Ging say he the engine. Yeah, he was the engine that could, man. That made the whole thing, man, say take off like a rocket
Right.
from the first band practice.
Gotcha.
And we started doing Kilimanjaro with Chuck Brown, and Chuck Brown started noticing Buggy, was like, wow, and Chuck loved us, man. Rest in peace to the king, the godfather.
Hmm.
Chuck was like, man, I'm gonna make sure y'all, Chuck put us in his articles and Vibe magazine, like, watch out for back, y'all. And was always love.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So okay. So what? And what happened with Hook? Why wasn't Hook in the band anymore?
No, Hook got incarcerated. I
Yeah,
mean, he was
locked up. Right?
incarcerated, so
That's what I
yeah,
thought.
he got locked up, and Hook, was always backyard for life. Hook was part of the reason why I was chose. You know what I'm saying? To even manage the band. Him and Black.
Mhm.
Rest in peace to Black. Robert Gardner. You know what I'm saying? So um, we went through a few drummers. You know what I'm saying? We had a drummer before Rondell. There was, I think it was Tank. Uh, yeah, no, it was Tank. It was Tank before Rondell. After Rondell was Bink. Then we had Gino from over First Street. Then Gary. Um, then Buggy.
So let me
So it's
ask you a question. Did
like
you,
five drummers. Uh-huh.
when you guys were picking new musicians, what was the primary factor in your mind? Was it the talent of this person and the way they play? Or I should say, what was the biggest factor? Was it the talent, or was it that you thought their personality and their work ethic would fit
Ta-
in?
that was equal. Talent, personality, and work ethic.
Okay, just because
Like
I've
like
always
you
found
gotta
it,
have uh-huh.
no, I'm just saying I've always found it difficult in bands. It always seems like the guys that are the most talented are the ones that feel like they don't have to show up on time or learn their music or whatever, you know what I mean? And then you got the guys that may not be quite as good, but they're always doing everything that they're supposed to do. And when you start to switch out members a lot, it sort of messes with the chemistry, because it's not always about who's the best musician. It's about the chemistry of the people that you put together. So that's just in my experience. I'm not saying
Well,
that's
they
truth.
they they challenged each other. So like when you walk in a room and you got a guy on another instrument just as good as on his instrument as you are on your instrument, and they see that, hey, we're gonna make it with you or without you, buddy.
Right, right.
And it was like, because I had a Rolodex. I was calling, I called you a couple of times. Hey man, I need you to sit in, man. Hey, they knew I knew who to call.
Yep, yep. No, I was there for a
So
while. I was there for like
yeah,
3 months or something while they
yeah,
were.
yeah.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
knew,
4 months.
I knew, and thank you, sir. And you knew the songs. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
knew them, but I will have to say publicly that I was severely outclassed playing in that band. Like I can chuck, I'm a pretty good, good chucker, but like musician wise, I
but
really.
that's what you but that's what we needed. You cannot come in that joint and just be like any type of you had to lock.
Yeah,
You had to lock and you knew your keys. We
yeah,
could say, Mally, we coming down on an E, or we coming down on a C, or E flat or whatever. You knew where to be at.
yeah,
So that helped us.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It was
yeah,
the power of that eight. If everybody dropped down on that eight at the same time, oh man.
yeah. No,
it,
it was,
it,
it was a hell of a lot of fun, but I was constantly feeling like I'm up here slumming it up. Like somebody's just gonna be like, "Get your ass off the stairs."
No,
But it
no,
was a lot of fun, though. It was a lot of fun.
no, we respected you, bro, and then we thank you for that. You know what I'm saying? So it
Feeling was
was like
definitely
they knew um either I knew who to call or it was like, man, because I was always had my head on the swivel. Like,
right,
hey man, you don't come to practice, I'm gonna have another person in here practicing.
right, right.
So that was the biggest thing, you know what I'm saying? It was like
Mhm.
I ain't, one time, Buggy was kind of flirting with a couple of bands and I understood people needed to make money. And it was like, but I needed people in rehearsal. So I had Dre from Junkyard in rehearsal on the drums one time. I had Quick in the rehearsal on the drums one time.
Mhm.
And Dre is what's his producer name?
I was just trying to think of it right when you said it.
For
But
Junkyard, yeah.
or like Murder Inc. or something.
Yeah, yeah, he's with Murder Inc.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
yeah, it was like, and wasn't not to replace Buggy, but it was just to know who I can call in case of emergency. Like
right.
I wasn't sitting around. It was like, man, we got to play now. Like we've done so many. Oh, we the good old we backyard, but this they looking at us like y'all who? Because
So
if
many.
I got to, yeah, the show must go on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I remember you told me one time when you guys came to play. I believe it was at the LaFontaine Blue in Glen Burnie, and
Mm-hmm.
we were there. And you told me that you're like, yeah, I got to have 5 people on the front line because 3 of them might not show up. That was hilarious. That was hilarious.
Yeah,
And
and it was yeah.
yeah, because when I was there, there was I don't remember what season it was, but they were shooting the wire, so G was gone a lot. So
Yeah,
and even when he would come, he would be like coming from New York or something. So
right.
like, Los would do like the first half of the set, which is if you haven't ever seen it, like Los literally sounds exactly like G when he's
Back then, yeah, yeah, back then, yeah.
holding for him. Yeah, it was crazy. He could just mimic the voice exactly. But yeah, man, those were good times. So that was like 2005, 2006. So between 95, 96 and 2005, 2006, which is when I was there, was there ever a was it like this or was it like this? Like was it did you guys go through downtimes too, or was it just always kind of always an up?
Um, um, we always found our way.
Mhm.
Like after playing at the Black Hole and the Black Hole being the spot, you know, Darby took me over to Southeast over there to Brian Manor on a Sunday,
Mhm.
and it was like, you know, Black Hole on a Friday, Brian Manor on a Sunday, right?
Mhm.
Brian Manor started becoming had more people than the Black Hole on a Friday.
Mhm.
So we would always find those spots to rejuvenate for slow times. Like we was like something had to happen. Like
Right.
trade winds popped off, classics popped off. You
Yep.
know, everything happened just like we lost the Ibex, then the Black Hole popped off. You know what I'm saying? So it was like we always found a way. It wasn't no, I mean, the schools kept us in play, going out of town, HBO, the Y came, that brought on more popularity for G. And man, we started doing stuff going up New York for HBO and we played at the Bugatti Mansion. We did a few of them junks and went to New Orleans and
Yep.
man, and a bunch of those Myrtle Beaches. And
Mhm.
then, we did Miami. Like, it was like, and all of that was in the midst of a red hot TCB coming along.
Right. Right.
Man, TCB they was on fire. Reactions, they
CFE.
was just on CCB, you know what I'm saying? Like they was just on fire, man. But we always found a way. We always found like a spot You know, the CFE, you know what I'm saying? That was up and down, but Trade Winds was on fire, or Classic was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We
Well,
was always,
so
we always,
I would assume the reason for that though is because you always kept leverage because you could
yeah,
always draw people, and
yeah,
so that brings me to my other question because what I see now is, and I bring it up a lot. Backyard is obviously the top band in the city right now.
right.
If you look at G's page, you look at Tiffany's page, you look at Sauce's page, you look at EB's page, you look at almost anybody's page in the entire band, and they are promoting every when shows are happening. Obviously, they are
Yeah.
promoting every single show, and there's
Eye
a
of the Tiger. Yeah, the Eye of the Tiger.
right, and there's
Yeah, they got the blue.
a lot of
They got the,
misunderstanding from
yeah.
these younger bands and other, not just younger bands, but other bands that I'm the keyboard player. I don't have to promote. I don't have to do that. And then you
Oh,
wonder
no.
why nobody's at your show. So my question to you is: prior to social media, when it was passing out flyers in the parking lot or hanging posters up on the telephone poles, was that something that the band was participating into at that time, or did they just get into it
Oh,
social media?
oh, they loved it. I mean, G would get on his bike, go from hood to hood with CDs. Like I could be making CDs up in the CVS, and I'd be like, "Hey, go across the street." That's when I was up Morton Street.
Mm-hmm.
I would give him 10 cassettes, and he'd go over there and sell them in 10 minutes. And we break down, you know what I'm saying, or he just give me the money or whatever. And it was always like, or flyers. He would ride around his bike. Or if I asked them to, after a while of me really, putting a lot of pressure on rehearsal and demanding they be on time and stuff, some of the promo stuff, I had a crew with me. So I ain't really need them all the time. But if I asked them, G hung up posters. Oh man, they love it because they love seeing their name, you know, painted through this city.
Mm-hmm.
They love walking in a store, a beauty salon, and seeing one of their flyers.
Mm-hmm.
They love hearing their cassette tape or their CD in somebody's car in Upper Marlboro.
Right.
So in order to do that, you got to plant the seeds. You got to I mean, it was relentless. Like we was everywhere. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, we was playing at block parties and we was everywhere. And I love some of the grind that these cats doing, but it wasn't nowhere near how that And we saw the same out of Northeast. We saw the same out of Junk. That
When I was with Northeast later on in like 2000, like end of 99 to
yeah,
2001, we used to get in Dig Dug's little minivan and drive
yeah,
around and staple up posters. And this was they were already like
right,
North Groovers. Like I
right,
came, they had already been hot before I got there, and we
right.
still drive around and do that. So I just don't understand the mentality of the bands over the last 10 to 15 years or so that just feel like somebody else is, but like the promoter's supposed to promote and I'm just supposed to play music. Okay, well, that's why you only got 20 people that come to see you. You know what I mean? If you
Bro,
look at the bands that have been successful over time, they do things like implement rules. They do
yeah,
like rehearse all day long and spend 2 hours on a song to make sure that that song sounds great. And they do things like get in a minivan or on a bicycle. Imagine, first of all, I want everybody to just imagine that in their head right now. Slim Charles on a
yeah,
bicycle riding around the city handing out flyers.
yeah.
Big G
And loved it. He
shit.
loved
Shut up.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 He loved it. It was like it was like fresh air to him.
Right.
And you wonder why Northeast is legendary. Junkyard is legendary. Backyard is legendary. They put that work in, man.
Yep.
TCB came along, and I'm nowhere near giving myself credit or none of that but you know, they wanted it.
Yep.
And as long as we gave them the platform to play up under us, they would be on time and get off that stage on time.
Right.
They
Well,
got a little, they got a little hot a couple of times. I had to turn the PA off. I was like, all right, man, all right, man. but but they wanted that smoke, man. They wanted it. They be like, man, where y'all can we open up? It was one time Miss Marguerite was like, hey, they gotta play everywhere y'all play. I said, yeah. And I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
just wanted to help. And if anybody that was just as eager and wanted it bad, I would let them play. I didn't care. I
Right.
didn't care. I was like, man, look, y'all got this much time.
Mhm.
You know, we gotta get our time. But other than that, man, you know, I didn't
So,
care. They just wanted it.
so speaking on the discipline and the the promotion, what do you think happened to that? Is it just because that's how that was easy to establish when people were younger, and now all of the bands are just older, and they're like, I'm a grown man, you're not going to tell me what to do? Or what do you think? Excuse me, what do you think the reason is that sort of mentality is pretty much gone from GoGo? Now it's just, I'm going to show up whenever I feel like it. We're going to practice for 2 hours. We're going to play these 3 new radio songs, and the keyboard player's not going to know it before he comes to rehearsal. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to have to sit here and listen to him learn the song when we should all be practicing it together. I mean, that's a lot of the stuff that I see now. And not to dwell on the negative, but why do you think that went away? Is it just
Um,
old now?
um, Social media. Um, um, it's like now I love it and I hate it
Mm-hmm.
because now people you just get up on there and just say, hey y'all, hold on, I'm gonna wait till 5 more people come up. Hold on. Hey, tonight, yes, tonight we are at, and they think that shit work.
Mm-hmm.
They content, they lazy. That's oh my god. I
But you have to see but they have to see that it's not working. Like, there aren't any go-go bands are not. I mean, with the exception of Fast Eddie's, which is like 900. It's a little bit smaller than the 930 Club. The WST, was it still the same, like the same capacity as 930 Club is now,
yeah
back when it was right? So that
yeah
was a regular, like a weekly spot, right? Like,
yeah
played there every week, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think the 930 Club is 11 or 1200, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, right,
So okay, so if now the biggest weekly spot in GoGo is Fast Eddie's, which is 200 people less than the WST, and also the Icebox, which people were playing both. You know what I mean? And the Icebox is what, 800-900 as well. So no, it's
right.
more than that. I forget. It's that now, since they changed it to the Scene, or it's not that anymore. But it was like, when I know we used to play there on
Yeah,
Saturday.
about 800, 900, 8,
Yeah,
900.
something like that. So, and the bands are playing at WST and Icebox on different nights. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about 2,000 people just over 2 nights. And now your biggest spot is 900 people, and there's only like 2 bands that can even fill the joint. So obviously you have to see that it's not working like it did before. So why would you think that just getting on a live and saying, hey, we're at this place tonight, is enough? I don't understand that logic. I don't understand how the numbers don't bear out your theory that that's enough.
I'm, I'm. It's sad to say, Mally. Sad to say that some of these cats really don't care. Like they, they, they want, they want to impress maybe 2 or 3 people instead of reaching for or setting a goal. They don't. Everybody got to be on the same page, man.
But
Everybody.
why do you think that's different now than it was in the late 80s, early 90s? Like, what happened? Like, why did we become that? Why did go from, we're all on the same, we want to be Junkyard and Essence, and we're gonna
Well, I'm gonna tell you.
do it?
Oh, every situation is different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, um, I had this discussion with Super Dan. and he want to know where those bands are that I looked up to, like the Petworths and the Class bands and the air raids and the the pump blenders and the mass extensions and stuff like that. I
Mm-hmm.
say, man, you never really know because they was hot to me.
Right.
Junkyards and the backyards, we looked up to them too. Air
Right.
raid, you know what I'm saying? So everybody got a different situation.
Right.
People have passed away that might have been really the cornerstone of some of them groups.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like any other group, the Temptations, or is that people kind of drift. Maybe somebody had another career. It could have just been like every band gonna have a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just that even with Backyard, you know what I'm saying. But leadership is key, and I was determined. G was determined to make it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And even at this point, on where I know deep down inside, he don't feel like he made it.
Right.
He
Well, so
want more.
that comes back to the definition of success. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And I think that's to me where if you will, I see the cognitive dissonance in GoGo, because people say that their definition of success is we want to be worldwide, we want to be on tour, we want to play, we want to be on the radio all over the place, we want to do, but you have this sort of abstract goal, but if you don't take that goal and crystallize it and really narrowly define it and then figure out what the steps are that you need to take backwards to get to that goal, then you're not going to get there. You know what I'm saying? But to me, I mean, if Backyard's goal, at least at that time, and your goal should evolve as you reach one, you should
right,
hit another.
right.
The Backyard's goal at that time was, beat Junkyard and Essence. Well,
Well, well,
they are.
well,
They are.
well. They all. Well, I'm not gonna say all,
Mhm.
but they want to be a top of their city. You know what I'm saying? They want to be, you know, that we watched our name come from the bottom of the poster to the top of the poster.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Um, no disrespect to nobody else, but I mean, you always want your city behind you.
Of
You
course.
always want to be the hottest in the city. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
You always want to be that. So at some point, we want to be the hottest in the city. Whether we're the hottest in the city now or then, at some point, we want to be the hottest in the city. Then
Right.
we have to look for more. Because
Right.
when you go out of town and you go to Chicago and they ask you, who are you? And you say Backyard. Well, I ain't never heard you before. And they call down and they know some people in DC and say, man, who is Backyard? If your city don't know who you are, bro, you in trouble.
Right. But even if they do, I actually just was talking about this yesterday
No,
with Reggie, who's Babyface's drummer now. We were talking about this yesterday. Even if and I think I used Chicago as the example too, and I may have even used Backyard as the example band. But even if you are the hottest thing in DC, once you step foot in Chicago,
no,
none of
yeah,
that really matters.
no, and you're absolutely right. That's why I used to say at the tip of, even though we might be at the top of, but nationwide, we got to start back over. So I always thought that, but my point was everybody, nobody knows us in Chicago, but the work has that we worked that first step, that first goal, we worked that to a degree where a person can say, yeah, they the top of the city. That's what the top of the city. You know what I'm saying? So Nah, I don't expect for them to know us in Chicago. That means it's more work to be done.
Exactly. That's that's the only point I'm making.
So yeah, and no, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It's more work to be done.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's I'm gonna tell you the worst feeling, Mally, and I know you probably been on is one day we went down I don't know, it was Virginia State. We were playing with Busta Rhymes or North Carolina, one of them Jones, man. And the crowd, say it was 4,000 people in there. We had our little 100 people in front, little DC little people. True story, Joe. And 100 people dancing on the floor don't look like in a
See,
sold out 5,000
yeah,
gym. It
yeah,
don't look like nothing. Everybody else looking at us, right?
right.
So we get off. Our point, was we did our job. But once the DJ started, that all 5,000 people went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw that, it was like, we got work to do on a bigger stage, bro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that feeling, I don't care if you're at top of your city or not, that's when you gonna eat some humble pie going home, bro.
What is
And Busta Rhymes, hold on.
I'm not going.
Busta Rhymes came on stage, Mally,
Mm-hmm.
and said, "Man, give it up for Backyard, right?" Them people went, they they great come back out here. Man, y'all do a couple of he got us to do a couple of more songs and made them people really fuck with us.
That's what's
Excuse,
up.
excuse me, but yeah, and it was like a humbling experience because like we got some work to do. So no matter how big you are in your city, if don't nobody know you outside your city, bro, you you gonna eat some humble pie.
Right. Well, I was just going to say that the even worse scenario than that is coming out on the stage, and instead of 4,000 people that don't care, you got 10 people that don't care. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah,
that's more likely what's going to happen. But then it's
right,
your job to make those 10 people care. So the next time you come back, there's 50 people that care, and then there's 100, and then there's 500. It's the same thing that
right.
you do in DC. It builds your way up, but you got to do that in every city. But so this kind of brings me to my next point, because I remember very distinctly that you were the first person that, and it's fun. I don't remember the best of rhymes thing, but I remember I played about 3 or 4 shows with y'all in North Carolina, because I was so amazed that we literally would like go to North Carolina and then drive all the way back and play at the Classics the same night. Like that
Oh
shit
yeah,
blew my mind.
oh
But
yeah.
I mean, I played more than one show in a day before, but to go from North Carolina back to DC to play in the same day was the new thing for me. But you were the first person I remember opening my envelope, and there was 50 extra bucks in there, and I was like, "Coop, what's this for?" And you're like, "Oh, that's your out of town fee." And had no idea. I didn't know I was getting an out of town fee. I was appreciative, and $50 at the time for me was quite a bit of money, and I was very happy. But
Right.
and I understand it's sort of coming out now, because it seems to me like most of the first experiences that you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, but just based on your story earlier, that most of the experiences that you had going out of town were in colleges, and colleges typically pay more money because there are not the same way. I mean, for people that don't understand the booking industry, there's a lot of different ways that things work. Like there are lounges that may not charge a cover. They pay very little, and they make their money off of the bar. Then you have your slightly bigger music venues that you might pay a cover charge to get in, and the band gets paid off a percentage of that. And then as you go up, there are places where you have to buy a ticket, and then the band gets paid off of that or whatever. But then there are things like the casino, which I had to explain to people a lot, that the casino's objective is not to make money off of ticket sales or even liquor. It's to bring people into the casino so that they will go on a slot machine and gamble. So that's why they are able to pay more money than and still have the show be free than a regular venue. Colleges are given a certain budget per year, and I know because I used to be on the concert committee at my school. That's how I got started. One of the ways I got started in promoting, and the live business. And there's a certain budget that you have, and you have to slice that budget up and pay it. And typically, it's way more, than a club that holds the same amount of people or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but there, one of the things that I've noticed that I brought up a lot on this show is there's sort of misnomer, and I'm not saying that you were doing it because this was a school, and I'm sure you got paid more, but there's a sort of a misnomer because most of the experience that go-go bands have with playing outside of DC is either at a school or Miami takeover or something along those lines where it's DC people that are already there. Like it's a school where a lot of DC people go, or it's a trip where people are taking a bus or whatever and going. And so it's not like you're going to Miami to play for people that are from Miami and you're expecting to sell 300 tickets of people that live in Miami, which is what touring is in every other genre of music. So I'm just saying, like, where did the we're supposed to get paid? Do you know where the mentality of no matter what the circumstances, we're supposed to get paid more money to go out of town? Where that mentality came from? Do you know? Like what tell you that?
My in some cases with me, some musicians, it's an incentive, like to like if let me see how can I say this. If you got if you huh?
First of all, thank you for that. I appreciate it. But anyway,
yeah, if you got a like my goal is the leadership goal is to might want to promote their brand outside of this city.
Right.
And in order to get everybody on page, because some people will go out of town for free, man.
Right.
But and then there's some that won't. So usually, like the people that go out of town for free will see the people that won't go out of town for free. Then they get to talking. They're like, man, hey, man, hey, man, I ain't going all the way out there when they paying me this amount to go 30 minutes to a club, and going way out there. It's an incentive for the organization to get out of town, and sometimes you can be sometimes you can be transparent with the group and be like, hey, this is either a promotional gig, this is what they paying, I think it'll be good for the company, blah blah blah. So a lot of times, man, everybody in the band ain't make it out of town.
Right.
So it was like they might make an excuse, I can't make it. But if it was paying, it's a musician thing. Like somebody from rehearsals knows somebody in backyard. They talk. Man, we get, even if they don't get it. Man, when I go out of town, man, I'm getting an extra $100 or I'm getting an extra $50. You better check. So then
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It I don't know where it started.
Well, that's what I'm, because I think that if there's, and it seems like a small thing, but I honestly think that wherever that myth came from has a lot to do with the reason why GoGo never made it outside of DC.
But that's why we was talking about. That's what we were talking about. Investing in yourself, getting in that little band like them rock and roll bands.
Yep.
And we talked about that earlier. They not going. It's like, and once you miss that window, it seems like once you miss that window of youth, a lot of cats are like right now. A lot of cats got bills to pay. They like, hey man, when I was a kid and I can just get up and go, I ain't had no bills.
Mhm.
Man, I go all the way around the world with nothing. You ain't gotta give me nothing.
So
But
that
life changes, and people have responsibility. The responsibility change, and so they, people got to maximize their time and their with their bills, and it's a lot, Mally. Like, you know, I get it, but that's why a lot of these labels be looking for young artists.
yep, yep. No, I
they,
got you. I got you. And
they
so that
not they not they not they not man. You find a new artist, and he 40. Oh, he coming with per diem.
mhm.
Uh, he want he want olives in his dressing room and shit. Like, he
Well,
coming with the whole. He coming with an entourage.
that brings me to my greater point, which is it too late? Like, is GoGo just too old to, like, did GoGo as a whole miss the window, or
So
are there younger people in GoGo that are willing to do the things that are necessary, that are the things that are done in every other genre of music outside of GoGo, that are able to, grow
I'm
beyond
gonna I'm gonna
just
say
the
I'm gonna
local.
say yes. I'm gonna say yes. But what the thing is is all it's all on trust. Like, it's some young cats, man, that's coming up now that love this game, man, and they would do anything for this game.
Mhm.
But if they don't trust you, it's a trust that gotta be built, and it can happen. But
Mhm.
right now, it's like, who do you trust? Like, you hear all types of stories. Like, even with me, with Backyard, it's like, you know, Coop was taking money. I never take no money from my men. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
well,
that
so
don't,
let's go there. So
right.
what happened? What is the story? What happened?
Well, any type of company, once you start trying to figure out the finances, and you getting back, you getting, you getting backed up, and just trying to maintain payroll. I got friends, you know, promoters. Man, Coop, what you need? You need help? Blah blah blah. Yeah, I need help. You know what I'm saying? I need help. So I can go to people and borrow 10,000, or I can do that. You know what I'm saying? But I got to pay them back.
Hmm.
So after a while, it just became over. It just became like damn, I got to pay this back, then I got to do this, get this back. You know what I'm saying? So people always wanted to help me. So I never had that problem, but it just became overwhelming, and G just didn't like it. It was like, man, why you ain't tell us? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I see what y'all go through. I see, your bills behind. I might sacrifice it. I could sacrifice it, but
Hmm.
I don't want to see my men sacrifice
Hmm.
because they do enough on that stage. So by any means necessary, I gotta have payroll. I gotta have whatever they need. I gotta have it. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So I borrowed. I got myself in debt, and just it took some years to get out. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, after a while, you just get stuck, and just like, you can't. So after a while, it was like, people started going to G, man, Coop over me this, Coop over me that. And it was like, G just got kind of tired. He was like, man, I'm gonna have to Coop. We're gonna have to separate ourselves, because what I'm saying, I don't want to be in the. And I'm like, yeah, it's not on y'all. It's my responsibility. So, and for the most part, I paid everybody back.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like a thing where, you got tired of people asking G where Coop at, and I never felt I was in danger of nothing, because I'm a stand up guy, and I always like, if I'm always transparent with you, I'm always like, hey, I know where we at, blah blah blah. So, but I made sure the band got paid. So
Hmm.
whatever was left, like, say we making, 5,000 left, I need that 5,000 to start paying my people back. You know what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
pay the band, but the profit was going to, what I'm saying, me paying. I'm never was on drugs. Never had no drinking habits or nothing like that. No trick habit. None of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just the business transactions of paying people back that helped me out, helped me keep my payroll up.
Mm-hmm.
So I was burnt out too. So it was like, I could afford it, but I was like, man, it's too much. But for the most part, people that know me, you know what I'm saying? So they could be like, you know, how could Coop, how could you separate yourself from Coop? Because Coop was backyard. You know what I'm saying? Like they couldn't figure that out. So in some cases it was like, well, Coop was taking money and blah blah. Man, never on my life. On my life.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Well, so just so you were so you were
I
borrowing
pay
money to
your bill.
make payroll,
I pay your bill and my bill be 6 months behind. I
right?
pay your bill first.
Right.
And they know that. It was just overwhelming. It was time for a change, man. They got the blueprint and they still boogieing, man. And I'm backyard for life. You know what I'm saying? Miles down the farm still call me backyard. I had a kickball team named backyard.
Oh
Got a
yeah.
new band. I got a new band though.
Oh yeah. No, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. I only brighten this up because I had not altogether similar situation, but sort of similar situation. Like part of there were multiple things that happened. Really, what happened with Marble Sauce was people that had never had any fame before started to get fame, and it went to their head, and they started feeling like how you're talking about with the rock band and getting in the van and not taking the
Yeah,
money. That was how Marble Sauce was run. There,
right.
there was no money taken out of the situation. Like the band did not get paid. I did not get paid. Nobody was getting paid, and that was the deal from the very beginning that everybody was brought into. Was listen, we need to. This is being run like a rock band, which that's how rock bands do it. We're putting the money back into the project. That's how we could afford to pay $10,000 for Tabby Benet to do the video and another $2,000 or whatever it was to get it closed caption and all that. Every song we recorded cost $1,500, and it was we recorded in Baltimore. So it was an expensive proposition. I put up about $15,000 of my own money over the course of the years. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
you don't supposed to get that back. Oh, hell no.
right. Well, yeah, and that's sort of what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah. That's what I was getting at
Right.
earlier too. Like people feel like a manager. First of all, I wasn't even supposed to be the manager. I only became the manager by necessity. Really, I was a record label, and they were the first act that I put together. But everything was transparent from the beginning. There was no confusion. But of course, just like you said, other bands, they start talking to other bands. Oh, y'all not getting paid? Why are y'all not getting paid? You're the hottest thing on the radio. Y'all should be getting this. You should be getting that. You should be getting this. You should be getting that. And that started happening. And then where I fucked up was, it wasn't like today. It wasn't that long ago, but it was 13, 14 years or 12, 13 years ago. So it was,
Right.
long enough ago. It wasn't like today where you like have QuickBooks Online or FreshBooks or Xero or some of these other like online accounting things. Like you had to like actually hire an accountant, a CPA or whatever, or a bookkeeper, and have them keep track of your books. And yeah, I think QuickBooks was around at the time, but it was like a few hundred, it was like $500 or $600 program or something like that. And I just didn't even I just was like, I'm whatever, like I'm keeping track of it. I got the bank records or whatever. And then when they wanted to see where the money went, I mean, which really you didn't even, it wasn't that hard to figure out. Like, where do you think the studio time is coming from? Where do you think the videos are coming from? Like, that's where the money's going. You know what I mean? But I didn't have that information on hand to pull out. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I fucked up. And the reason I bring that up is because the whole point of this show is for people to learn. You know what I'm saying? So if in order for you to not have to make this mistake yourself, learn from my mistake, learn from Coop's mistake, learn from, Backyard and Mama's House mistake or whoever, you know what I'm saying? And just be on top of your finances, because regardless of when everybody is friends and everything is going well and the money is coming in, there is going to be a time when the money slows down. And if you don't have a plan to, figure out how to get through those times and keep everybody afloat, it's going to explode. You know what I
And
mean?
that's it. That's that Charlie telling me after you got a 6 month run, after that you gotta understand what you need to do to keep that. You need a plan.
Yeah.
And if you don't, and what happens is you making so much money. I mean, we catching, we doing flights, we doing uh limo buses. Man, we having fun.
Right.
You you ain't you ain't planning.
Right.
You just this the first time you enjoying the money that you always wanted to get into this game, and I never knew what it was gonna be.
Right.
But when it started coming, you just like you spinning, you taking trips and you just spinning. You don't think it's never gonna end. And when that joint end, you gotta be ready, bro.
Right.
So that's what you learn. Like, you know, a lot of things, and they say, well, Coop, would you have done the same thing? What would you have done differently?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't really because the band is where I want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Differently for me, maybe really hustle a little harder to,
Mm-hmm.
to keep it up. And if I did had to borrow money, I knew where it was. I had a plan for that.
Right.
I don't know, but I mean, they all right.
Right.
And guess what? I'm all right. That they all right.
Right.
So I know how to rejuice myself. I know how to, but those men over there that's doing their thing, they all right.
Right.
So the sacrifice I took, long as I gotta, I'm breathing out here. Sacrifice I took, I feel like I'm all right if they all right, and that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Right.
But
Right.
I learned. But I learned. You know what I'm saying? I learned the to be a little bit more organized.
Yep.
To be a lot more organized.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, uh, um, like even with you not having the stuff on, the paperwork. You know what I'm saying? I mishandled paperwork. Never threw nothing away though.
Mm-hmm.
So around here, it's something. It's I
I'm with it.
I never threw nothing away.
Right. Right.
So just mishandling of the paperwork, man, and my next situation with my new group, I was more, I was out front with it, told them everything. People try to go behind my back, and man, coop, and my man was like, nah, he already told me all that. So what's next?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
let's get into that. Tell us about top five. What you got going on now?
hey man, I just I love GoGo. And
Mm-hmm.
I help anybody. Bands come to me all the time. I talk to different bands. Black Passion, Lit Band, Steel Band, Mental Attraction, Prime Time. I talk to bands all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Subtle. I talk to bands all the time. I give my opinion on stuff. And but Rico, the barber, uh,
My old bandmate from the What Band.
yeah,
Yep.
he
Mm-hmm.
played with what Raw Image, some
Yep.
Northeast Groovers. Uh, Great barber, you know what I'm saying? Bass player for them too, also. And he came to me and was like, "Hey man, I want you to check out. I got an R&B group. I want you to check out. I want you to kind of, you know, give me some, kind of consultant. I want you to come on board as a consultant." And I was like, "Cool." I was, what's a phone call? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He let me hear it, and I was like, "Oh man, what is this?" Like they was like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I said, "Nah, this is them playing for real." So I went out to go see them, and I was like, "Man, I'm on board. Whatever you need me to do."
Right.
Uh, it's called Top 5. It was put together by Colton Perrine and Anthony Robinson, and dynamite young musicians, all of them young, under 30, look good.
Mm-hmm.
I say, man, this is the new wave, right?
Mm-hmm.
R&B. I can get in the house. Ain't no more 5 in the mornings. I get in the house at 11:30.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, this is easy. But I sat down with the owner, that's Anthony Robinson, and I told him my story with Backyard, how it ended, and he thanked me for being transparent. But I knew people would go, people went behind my back like, man, Coop this, Coop that, and you know, I don't know what's wrong with this town, but I got more love than I got hate. So
Right.
I stand by that, you know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think it's hate. I think it's just envy.
Yep.
I was when you help that many people and people talk so good about you, people get tired of that. They be like, oh man, F that nigga, man. F them. He ain't all that. You talking too good about him. So I can
Right.
see that. I can see that sometimes. But I mean, other than that, I never had never been in clear and present danger. Never been in that. Um, I get love all over the city. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Just for the hard work. They see me putting up posters. They see me, you know what I'm saying? They see me promoting. They seeing that band come out of nowhere, and but it's like I had a Jordan. I had a Michael Jordan, and that Jordan effect. Me and Gingas was like that, and it put everybody in that mindset. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Well,
all with all everything necessary. Like we gonna make it.
that brings me to a question from Chris Birch. He says, regardless of whether it's B by B or top five, is your love for this industry the music or the business or management or all of it?
It's never been the love for the music. Um, puts me in a place where I have to do what I got to do, whether it's management, the business. You know what I'm saying? Like because of what I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's always gonna be love for the music, but I gotta make sure now the business is right
So you can keep
because
making music.
yeah, so you can keep making the music and it won't stop. See,
Yeah.
I stopped for a couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
and that love almost went away. And when I heard top 5, I fell in love again.
Right.
And I was like, man, this is something special. These
Right.
guys, I don't know what type of musicians these guys is. Goodness gracious. I felt like it's like although, we not where we want to be right now, but we've made progress through just name recognition and because it's a go-go town. So we know it's gonna be hard. Promoters gonna look you off. Oh, Coop, man, that ain't so you gotta find people done said, well, Coop don't know how to manage an R&B group. Man, look, man, I know how to hustle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it's about. I know how to get into a room, man, and work the room, man. Like, and people see the realness of what I'm where I'm coming from. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? I kept quiet one time. I went to a meeting with somebody else. They was like, well, who are you? I said my name, and the room came to me.
Mm-hmm.
I said my name. I ain't promoting nothing. Oh, you Coop? Oh, you Coop? Oh, you Coop? And I just said, yeah, I'm up here with such and such. The room came to me, man.
I believe.
Now I got the room. Now I can say, okay, I got top 5 now.
Right.
So so yeah, it's the love of the music, man. And that brings me to everything that I learned, the wrongs, the good, the bad, what I need to do now. It's like it's a whole nother mindset. And
Mm-hmm.
what role do I play here? See,
Mm-hmm.
backyard role was more so I had to play ownership.
Mm-hmm.
I had to play the father. I had to play the big brother. I had to play the uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes all of those hats get you in trouble. Can't play all them hats. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
they was teenagers and young adults, and you had to do that back then.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do it everywhere. That's why Jermaine Dupri and Bow Wow ain't together right now, or Dame Dash, and things just fall out after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Men grow up.
Mm-hmm.
They want to do the business how they want to do the business. Gotta respect that.
Mm-hmm.
So with this situation, I don't own nothing. I'm working for Anthony Roberts
Right.
and helping him reach his goal.
And what is that
Yeah.
goal? You know, what's that goal?
His goal is it changed through time because things happen.
Yep.
He had built the band and wanted the band to be. He built the band for Colton Kareem, for artists.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to be the MD and just try to let's put a band together. For whatever reasons, he put his band together. You might got to get him up here one day. But when I came in, it was him, putting a band, a great band, uh, 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 some great musicians that knew theory. You know what I'm saying? Like when I tell you, I never knew numbers. I knew the scale, but I never knew fives and fours. They was on something that I was like, man, what is this?
Right.
So his goal changed because like he kept, you know, he wanted to be that band behind the artist.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while the artist wants to do, Ant wants to get exposure this way, the artist want to get it another way. So you bump heads after a while, you don't be on the same page. It might look like the same page, but then you just like you gotta respect each other's space and where they want to go with it.
Right.
So he tried that a few times. And now he like, man, he gotta invest in himself. That's the only way that he going like he wants to be Mally. I'm trying to tell you, he don't want me to talk as much. But the man is producing, writing, and he's an artist now. And like I'm listening to some of this stuff, like, you know, so at first, he did a lot of arranging and and um stuff like that, range other people's songs like R&B hits, and you
Mm-hmm.
know do a lot of that stuff, and and I respected that of him. And he had a powerful sound. I didn't know nothing about uh uh you know programming, and I knew nothing about it. I knew it was done, but I seen him do it in front of my eyes.
Yeah. No,
Background
he's
vocals, all of that
extremely
production.
talented guy. Yeah. Extremely
Yeah,
talented. Yeah.
he's different. So once I saw that, I was like, yeah, man, I want to help him. I want to help him. And whatever he want to do, like one artist told me, he said, man, you gonna say yes to everything Ant want? Yeah, because I work for Ant, and that's what Ant want. That's what I'm gonna try to do. So it's like it's I can only, when Ant asks me a question, I have to give him my best answer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I can't force too much on an artist that's really creative as he is. So I have to really take everything in. And Coop, I need you to get in touch with all the DJs. Coop, I need you to set up this meeting with such and such. Coop, I got this idea. Coop, I got this, got that. And I got a Genghis did the same thing.
Right.
Yeah. This my this my new Jordan. Genghis still my Jordan, but this my other Jordan. They
Yeah.
got some dudes that really want. So with that being said, he got some stuff coming out, some original stuff. We changing the, I don't know if you knew. Well, I think you might have saw some of it on my birthday at Fonte. I mean, I said Fonte. But there's a blues and jazz where
Yep.
he put the mic in front of him now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he sent me some of the videos.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So now is not only is his stuff now.
Right.
Like you could, like he's ready to come out with an album. I don't really supposed to say all that, but you gonna push me into that.
Well, you can blame it on me. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm
But
I'm in
it's true.
California. He can't swing on me because I'm all the way out here. So
Nah, but he love you, but he been like this COVID-19 been really like a blessing in disguise with him because he a lot of things he needed to do. Um, he always like for the last 2 years he been writing,
mhm.
and he's been like shocking me every time. I was like, so now he's producing, he's mixing, he got everything Ableton. I'm learning all that stuff. He got everything now, and
Yep.
he's you know he's been getting help. You know what I'm saying? He don't be shy from asking Corey Baker. You know what I'm saying? Charlie Keys. He don't be shy. You know,
Mhm.
he gonna ask. He gonna ask. He's a good student, man.
Well,
Good student.
he's.
I
I have to say that because I booked you guys for a few shows, and I never really have to worry about things being right. You know what I mean? And
well, except for that last one. That last one scared me,
Oh yeah,
man.
the last one was a little, but that wasn't his
Woo,
fault. That wasn't his fault. That.
woo. I was so mad, and I'm not gonna put his name out there, but he on a thin leash with me with
Yeah.
anything. Like we
Right.
always say, man, listen, man. You know, if you got another show, I know y'all be trying to get money.
Yep.
I know it, but don't do it to me. Don't do it to
Right.
me.
Right. Yeah. No, that one was a little rough, but I prefer to remember those guys driving out. I think in the snow one time, if I'm
Oh
not
man,
mistaken, to go all the way to damn near Chicago,
guess what?
where
Guess
the
what though,
casino
man?
hit for me.
That was that hop in the van.
Yep.
That was that hop in the van, Joan. Even though we got paid, but man, we went to Buffalo, Michigan, man,
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah. 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 Might gotta do it again when outside opens up. We'll see what's
I'm
up.
trying to tell you, man. And
Yeah.
you know we'll do it.
Yep.
We one of them bands that's gonna get in that van.
Yep. Yep.
And we sang 99 bottles of beer on the wall. Malachi, they ain't know what that was. You know, they young.
That is
I
hilarious. Oh,
started
yeah, the
I
teacher
started
doing.
singing that. I started singing that shit. They was like, Coop, what is you? Shut up. Like, what is that?
That is hilarious. My family used to sing that when we went on road trips.
Oh man.
Funny. That is
I
funny.
you know, they young enough to be my kids, so they didn't know what I was talking about.
That is funny. Well, I want to get to a couple other questions from people watching. So my man Jerron, is taking it a little bit back to backyard, but he said when Big G started The Wire, was that a low point for the band as far as crowd attendance? Did that affect
It was tricky because they never knew when he would be there. You know what I'm saying? It was always like it was Jerron should know because he's been a fan. He could
Yep.
probably
Yep.
he's always been there, and I thank him for that. Jerron, a lot of people say you my son, and I say, man, I know I'm old, but damn, man, y'all, you know what I'm saying? They say we kind of resemble, especially when we got shades on. But
I'm
no,
trying to remember because I've been friends with Jerron on Facebook for so long. Maybe it was back because I was thinking I knew him from the What Band. I don't know if he's still on here
I'm
now.
telling you, yeah,
Well, maybe it was from when I was playing with you guys. I can't remember.
man, he been a fan. I'm talking about, man. Um, but it was highs and lows because we had fun with it because we would do wire parties and you know what I'm saying, like so it was up and down.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, Dave, you probably remember Dave Cleveland used to play keyboards with me in the What Band when I was there. Now he plays with Kim and Scooby. He said, How is it that we allow a promoter to tell you they are short? That's the issue we are still having today. The question is, how are we allowing promoters to say they're short on pay for the bands? What's your opinion on that? And then I'll give my opinion on that.
Well. It's not that you're allowing them to tell you that you're short. I you know, we fought we fought this for years, and some was ugly, some was settled in a way that you really don't. So to avoid anybody getting hurt or to avoid, Genghis going off on somebody, I took the beef. I would say don't worry about it. And the band members could tell you plenty of times. I say, man, meet me at the print shop on Monday. I got you. Don't,
I
they were
remember you
short.
used to make me come to the print shop. I'm like,
Yeah.
I live in Annapolis. You want me to drive all the way to Iverson Mall?
But that was
That's
just
how,
not,
that's how I met Chris.
you're right.
No, but that's how I met Chris. And if I would have never met Chris, he would have never told me, asked me to come on his YouTube show and show me this platform, and I probably would have never started this show to begin with. So everything happens for a reason.
But that was the hub, man. That was the hub. Thanks to Chris, man.
Yep.
And he let us come in that junk, man, and tear it up
And cut up.
and
Yep.
cut up. You know what I'm saying?
It was
Bug
like,
him.
it was like a barber
Um,
shop with no hair cutting going on.
oh man, Chris was great for us, man, for the whole industry, really, because he did the flyers. He did all the graphics and stuff for us coming up, and we're old Chris. Same thing. We become short on Chris, man. Chris, man, I think I owe Chris right now, but he'll still work. He'll still, he'll still because I figure it out. I'll be like,
Right.
man, look,
Well,
I'm
so
gonna
you have a
charge this person.
relationship.
I'm gonna charge this person an extra $60 that's coming to you because I owe you that 60 or something. You know what I'm saying? I make it up, but
Well,
but
but that's important because you have a relationship, and that's something that I've been talked to the last two. Yesterday, I had on Reggie Johnson, who used to play for Optimistic Tribe back in the day, and now he
right,
plays for Babyface, and he played with Macy Gray before that. And then on the day before that, I had Mike Barney on. Mike Bombs, who's out here in LA with me. You may remember him. He used to be Lizette's boyfriend, and he's a
he
producer.
played. He sat in with back a few
But
times. That's my man.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I had him on him, and both of us, because all of us are out here in LA right now. So all of us were talking. I mean, two separate interviews, but we're talking about the importance of relationships. And
right.
people look at relationships in the entertainment industry as a bad thing. Well, you only got this because you knew that person. You only got this because you knew that person. Well, no, it's about providing value to that other person in exchange or in hope that someday they will provide value to you. It's not quid pro quo. It's not I do this for you and you do this for me. It's I'm gonna do this for you because I respect you. And most likely down the road, you'll probably just like with Chris, you know what I'm saying? Just like you're saying, like I'm sure brought a lot of business to Chris. And so therefore he sometimes is willing to take it on the chin when you don't have
Yeah,
it up front.
yeah.
And he knows that you're going to work it out because y'all have that relationship. And I
Well,
didn't really know him that well, honestly, before like we really started really communicating since COVID hit. And I don't know that I've met a more genuine guy, and I appreciate
oh man, oh
him.
man, and like all the young groups followed us.
Mhm.
They wanted to get their flyers done where we got our flyers done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the promoters, it was a big hub, and I mean we was there all day, every day, man. Like, and
Mhm.
if you needed to book something or find a band,
Mhm.
you went to the print shop because we was there. You'll see Funk coming through there. You'll see all the greats. You'll
Yep.
see Genghis hanging up there,
Yep.
and it was big for everybody, man. I thank Chris for that. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed. Indeed.
But Dave,
He was there. He said he was
Dave,
there. Chris said he was
Dave,
there when G took Icy Ice's car too, and said it was fun.
who?
Chris said he was there when Genghis took Icy
Yeah,
Ice's
yeah.
car.
Chris, remember? Hey, Chris, man, they called me I was in a hospital. I said, "Gang, please take the man car back. Man, you gotta pay me, Joe. Nah, man, gonna come short. I need mine."
So back to Dave's question, real quick though. Did this happen typically for you? Did it happen when it was a bad night, or did it happen
it,
when it
it
was?
it happened. It happened when it's a bad night, and no, most musicians, they don't care about the bad night.
Mhm.
If I come out and play, they like F you, pay me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like this is what I'm here for. So some understand and some don't. And my thing was, I can't just pay the people that don't understand and not pay the people that do understand. That ain't fair. Me giving somebody some money and not giving you no money.
Right.
That wasn't fair. So I had to go to the friends of the network. my
Right.
my promoter friends, hey man, I need $2. I need to get this thing back. You know what I'm saying? A lot of, all the promoters helped me. Vic, Ivi, the land, Jahar was
Mhm.
real huge, you know what I'm saying? Few promoters, Horseshoe, it was a thing where, and some other, close friends, man, they would just help me out. What you need, Coop? I was like, hey, I need to get this, you know,
Right.
shit
Well,
wasn't good this weekend.
let me just give a little perspective from someone who, I mean, I book shows all over the country and all over the world actually, and for a from my perspective, what happens when you're dealing with a I don't want to say a larger promoter, because some of these promoters are like do it full time. It's not just a part time thing for them, but they may do smaller shows than what you would imagine a GoGo would be. But they do them a lot more of them in a lot more different venues and across a couple of states, because typically in other genres of music, you don't have the same band playing in the same place every week. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of a different thing. But what happens fairly frequently if you're having a bad night um, and it's not even a bad night, because a lot of these shows that I do are advanced tickets. You know what I mean? It's not just like you know, this much at the door. Like people are buying tickets in advance. If a couple weeks in advance the promoter is noticing that the tickets aren't selling that well, a lot of times they will ask for a reduction then and there. They will say, hey, listen, we're not even at 50% capacity yet, or whatever it is. And they'll say, hey, we need to do a reduction on this, because they're basing their deal that they gave you based upon what their expectation was. And that's usually that expectation is developed by what they call tour history, which is how many tickets did you sell last time you were here in this market. And it doesn't matter what you sold in this other market. It only matters what you sold here. If you're in Indianapolis, it only matters what you sold in Indianapolis last time. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times that's just what happens. Now, they typically don't wait until the end of the night to say, hey, Joe, it was a bad night. They typically know that up front, but obviously that's going to be different in GoGo, because typically there's not a lot of advanced tickets sold in GoGo. But I think there's two sides to it, because I deal with a lot of promoters, and promoters in other genres of music, even hip hop or R&B or whatever, don't really operate the same way as GoGo promoters. GoGo promoters typically take or I don't want to say they take a much larger percentage, but basically because of the fact there's multiple things going on. GoGo bands typically take a flat deal, meaning I want $5,000. You pay me $5,000 no matter what. Whereas in other genres of music, it's typically something more like, you pay me, you guarantee me $2,500 or 80% of the door after expenses, whatever's more, or something along those lines. So that what that does is it minimizes the promoter's risk at upfront, and it maximizes the band's potential to make more money if it does well. You know what I'm saying? But a typical promoter in other genres of music is making roughly like 15% of the gross. The band should be making around 60% of the gross. So that's 75% of the entire amount of money that comes in. So if $1,000 comes in the door between the band and the promoter, you're looking at about $750, and then the other $250 goes to paying the venue, the security, whatever. And of course, that's a small number, and I'm just using it for simple math. But in GoGo, it's like, I'm going to pay your band $2,000. There's going to be 500 people here that all paid $20, which is a $10,000 gross. And I have $2,000 that I'm paying the band. I have $2,000 that I'm paying for expenses, and that leaves $6,000 left, and I'm taking all of that. You know what I'm saying? So the promoter, I mean, I'm not saying that's every single promoter, but typically that's, because I've done a lot of deals with GoGo promoters as well. So I know, and even with Mambo Sauce, like I had promoters that wanted to do back end deals with me, and I said no, because I don't trust that you're going to pay me the rest of the money. So give me the flat amount. You know what I mean? And so it's a little bit different when you're dealing with go-go promoters than it is when you're dealing with, you know, the 930 Club or City Winery or, you know, one of these types of venues that literally, you know, that's going to give you a sheet at the end of the night that says, this is how many tickets sold at this price, how many sold at this price, how many sold at this price, this is how much we paid for your backline, this is how much, you know, we paid for security, whatever, and it's going to be all spelled out for you. Go-go promoters, you typically don't get that at the end of the night. You just get, you know, here's your cash in an envelope. So, you know, it's a little bit different. I feel like, to be honest with you, there's a lot of things that could be, I mean, and I'm not saying this to beat up on go-go promoters either, because I also sort of understand that, back to what we were talking about earlier, which is that bands don't feel like it's their responsibility to promote anymore. And I'm telling you that in every other genre of music, it absolutely is. It's the band's job. Now, if the band has a publicist or a marketing company or something that they hire to do that for them, then that's one thing. If you get to a level of a Beyonce or something, like Beyonce's not going to be on her Instagram posting her show all the time, of course. But she did that before, and that's how she's Beyonce now. It's like, Ludacris, I think it was Ludacris that said it one time. I think he was even talking about working out or something, like, oh, it's easy for you to work out. You got all this time in the world. You don't have to go to work in the morning. Well, the reason why he's got that time is because he did the work in the beginning.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I know I'm going off on a tangent a little bit, but back to Dave's question is, the first thing you need to do is have a damn booking agent that's going to do a real contract for you and make sure that, you know, everything is signed, sealed, delivered, instead of doing handshake deals with, you know, the homie promoter down the street. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. It'd be a lot of times your buddies, and so many, and I'm sure you ran into this, where all of a sudden you got a friend that want to throw a show.
Yeah, yeah, because they see the glitz and glamour and don't
Right.
the rest.
And I mean, whatever type of deal they can get, they're gonna try it because of your relationship. And at the end of the day, and most of these be, all these cats are my friends, man. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All of them. They've been there for me. I be there for them. All of my friends, man. And when I see 50 people in the party, and I'm watching them, you know, go to the most machine and scrape up everything, and I gave them a
I'm
view.
about to fry you. Who says most machine in 2020? My mother used to say that shit in like 1989.
I'm old, Mally. I was about to say a pager earlier when you was talking about social media. Leave me alone, man.
Man, that is fucking
most machine. Because guess what? That's what we was doing back then.
True.
They was going to the most machine, Cal. I mean, man. Yep. So anyway, I would see this, and hey, man, I took all my money out of the bank. Can you meet me tomorrow? And that'll turn into something else. And I got part of my band waiting. So, you know, a lot of times these promoters, especially go-go promoters, they are friends of the of the manager, or they, you know, so it's the manager's job to pay you regardless. Mm-hmm. I mean, you gonna come up short, but if the manager agreed to, you know, that y'all had an agreement, it's the manager's job to really get that. Just like the booking agent, you know what I'm saying? You know.
Yeah, I feel a little bit differently about that, because I feel like
no, I'm saying Mally. Yeah. I'm saying it's my fault for not doing the business, for shaking the hand.
Right. Oh yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
That's all.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I'm the one stuck.
Right.
So it's my responsibility. That's just like agents. You go to an agent, he do all the paperwork. Everything gonna be on time with you.
Right.
But we doing these handshake deals because they our friends, man.
Right. No, I get it. I get it.
And, that,
I guess
and
I'm
that's
just saying. I'm
so
saying,
that's what happens sometimes. That's all.
right. I'm just saying, friends or not, if you're a band, and like this is where I think the misconception comes in. Like bands, the only band that gets the only kind of band that pays to get played. I'm sorry, that gets paid to play music is a wedding or a corporate band. Any other
Right.
type of band gets paid to sell tickets, right? You get the formula is you're worth roughly 60% of the amount of tickets that you can bring in, which is the gross. There's an acronym called the GBOR, and it's gross box office receipts. So if you sell 100 tickets at $10, that means your GBOR is $1,000. And I keep using that just because it's simple math. So,
Right.
roughly speaking, your band is worth 60% of that, which is $600, right? So you're saying that I'm worth $600 because I know that I can sell 100 tickets at $10. But if you only sell 10 tickets, then you have to take some of the responsibility in that as a band. It's not just the promoter's fault. It's not just the manager's fault. It's and this goes hand in hand with what I was saying earlier about the bands feeling like they don't have to promote. If you don't feel like you don't have to promote and 50 people and you still got your hand out to get the same amount of money because you think I played my keyboard. I mean, I don't want to say keyboard because I want Dave to think I'm talking directly to him. But you know, I played my guitar. Give me my $150. Then you just don't understand how the economics of this thing really work.
No, I understand that, but what was the agreement? It's different deals. So if the deal was based upon, like, if you feel like I should get 600 and I'm charging you, and I say you ask me how much my band, and I'm telling you $2,000. If we both agree on that, then you owe me $2,000.
Right. All I'm saying is that I guess it sort of also depends on.
So if you come short, Mally, because you my man, you give me $1,000. I can't go back to the band and say, "Oh well, we short. He gave me $1,000." That's on me, because now I'm taking the risk, because I guaranteed my band that we was gonna get paid, even though me and you my man, and you know what I'm saying. So sometimes those shorts become the band. If the band understood what the deal was based on the tickets and how you just broke it down, then maybe they'll sell tickets.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that bands should understand that.
Right.
And the thing is it's not even about whether the promoter is your man, but is do you want to keep a good relationship with this promoter? Now, there's other. I mean, if you realize that the promoter didn't do shit,
but that's what I do, and that's exactly. I keep a good relationship because even though you came short, because I understand the economics, but these musicians don't. I took the bulk of that. I took the blame, and I still had to pay my band.
Well, I commend you for that, but I wouldn't do that. I would just.
But Mally, that's how I got in debt. That's how that type of stuff happens.
Right. Well, so man, I feel you, and that's honorable. That's an honorable way to look at it. And I'm not suggesting that to be dishonorable and to be disingenuous with your band or anything like that. What I'm saying is, I feel like it's a manager's job to make their band at least understand the basics of the industry and how it works. The industry is based on relationships, and the live industry is based on ticket sales. So those are your two pieces. Those are your two pieces of the lifeblood of your business.
Mally, and guess what? Some of the musicians understand that.
Right.
It's 10 people in the band. If four don't,
my next question: do you need 10 people in a band?
No, not what I just saw with Ant. No.
Right. There you go.
This man got a 4-piece. and
Right.
could be on any stage in the world. Like, man, bam, boom, bing.
All
Like,
right,
nice.
we got a couple more questions. You have this is officially so. Mike Barney's interview was officially the longest interview on Wednesday. This is officially the longest interview so far, but it's fine. I'm loving it. So let's keep going. So a couple more questions. All right. So Robert Monroe Jr. wants to know, and I don't know how you would answer this since you're not with the band anymore, but can Hood Related 2 some way somehow be released? Hood Related 1 was such a game changer and way ahead of its time in terms of production, 5-star production, release quality, etc. So I'm going to only ask you this because obviously Hood Related 2 has been supposed to come out since way before you weren't with the band anymore. So what the fuck is the holdup? God damn it.
Hood Related 2. You remember we released the Dipper on the radio?
Yep.
That was part of Hood Related 2.
That was what, like 98?
That was right after, right after 99.
98, 99.
98, 99.
Yep.
And it was a studio version of the Dipper. And that was supposed to be Hood Related 2. Just I'm gonna tell you, what happens is when you start to get booked and you don't really have, that 10-man band want to go in the studio trying to get everybody on the same page. We recorded 6 songs after the Dipper. We recorded 6 instrumentals. Didn't have time to put the vocals on. And they still got the instrumentals. So
okay. All right, I'm gonna go to the next question. This is from Chris. Chris wants to know, okay, folks, late 90s, what was Coop BYB's biggest payday? What was the most money that Backyard ever made on the show? I didn't ask you, Chris asked.
In the 90s?
Just ever when you were there.
We had some good days we had the most. I can give you the venue. Can't dig into the economics of just, because this could be misleading to the point of people trying to figure out does this happens all the time. G birthdays were always great. Love, the DC Star.
Well, how about can you like a range?
The ice box.
Mm-hmm.
The scene.
Is it? Can you do a range? Like, is it like between 5 and 10,000, between 10 and 15, between 15 and 20?
Yeah, between 15 and 20. Easy.
Between 15 and 20.
Yeah, easy.
So the reason I wanted to ask that question is because here's where my head is. That's a lot of money, and it sounds like a lot of money. But guess how much I paid Boys to Men to play at the casino in a 500 capacity venue?
How much?
$150,000.
I'm hip.
So I guess where I'm saying that's where and this was like not even when Boys to Men was popular. This is like a casino that has been circuit. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is I don't say that to be insulting. I say that because that's what I want GoGo to be. And we can if we just do things a little bit differently. You know what I mean? But I think there's multiple things that are going on. One, just like you said, when it's 10 people in the band, how are you going to get everybody to be on the same page? And if you got 10 people that are like, oh, I want to get paid no matter what. I don't give a shit if we're going out of town. I don't give a shit if there's 50 people there. Then there's no money left over to do anything with, to pay for studio time, to hire a marketing company, to hire publicists, to do any of these other things that other people do to get to that point. There's everybody's old now. There's no like real new artists coming out that are like 35 plus years old. So what can we do? Like, what can GoGo do? I want I want go-go bands to be making like $150,000 for Boys and Men. Is there a hat? They were a hat. This was in like 2014 or something, 2015. This was not Boys and Men was hot. So imagine what they were getting. I mean, you know, adjusted for inflation or whatever. Imagine what they were getting when they were hot. You know what I mean? Right. So that's what I'm what I was asking earlier about, you know, like at the height of backyard success, did we still have to work at CVS? Like at the biggest that GoGo has been, we're still not anywhere close to where this other stuff is. But you put backyard on stage with against boys. I mean, that's a bad comparison, but backyard will fuck up any band I've ever seen on stage.
Well,
so why can't we be on those stages? Is all I'm saying. Top 5 will fuck up any of those bands I've seen.
Yeah, I'm about to say that too. You know how the labels look. I always felt like I had to think like a label. I always felt like I gotta find the next superstar. In most terms, they are a particular age. You know what I'm saying? So, and kind of secretly, that is what some of us are doing, like, without it really being, you know, put out there. I'm in a couple of groups now that are searching for talent and
well, we need to talk because
trying to build music schools so we can teach music to these young kids, and that's coming like sooner than later.
Right.
Not saying that it's not here for the bands today, but you look at the bands that's on top of the city right now, and most of them are a certain age where, you know, they should be looking to reinvest in their own projects and bringing up some young talent, just like, you know, when Wayne got with Drake, and he came out with Young Money. Yep. You know what I'm saying? You got to start reinvesting in the next. You know, you can't be selfish to a point. You know, you got to be like, hey, you know, I want my legacy to run through, and I want it to be, you know, this for the next 30 years. Like, right. You've been around 30 years, and you want your legacy to be around another 30 years. You got to start investing in yourself and bringing up talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure. You know, investing into, you know, the next superstar. You know right. What I'm saying? Like, and that's what behind closed doors we doing that, man. I'm just telling you right now.
Well, you need to open that door, because that's what right. I'm doing. And we'll open the door to each other.
That's good, and we'll talk about it. I'll let you know. I hate talking about stuff and it fall through. And
no, I get it, 100%.
Just, you know, but we've been trying to do this for a while, and actually it's me, Jahad, Jock. You know what I'm saying?
Jock, which Jock? Guitar player, Jock?
No, Jock Vaughn.
Oh, okay.
They played with Chuck back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the CEO, I am a CEO.
Yeah.
We got an organization called Earth Tones, and okay. And yeah, we doing. I'll let you know. Doing a lot of stuff right now. Even matter of fact, we just found a building. So.
Well, thank you for having good Wi-Fi for this today, because Jahar's episode last week or the week before kept cutting out.
You know why? He got that Donald Trump Wi-Fi. He got that.
Listen,
I don't know. You know, he's so busy. He's so busy promoting Donald Trump, man. Don't you know? They might have cut his circuit off.
Man, I had to. 10 minutes before every show, we put up a post with, that's why we asked for 2 pictures, one for the flyer and one to just put up and say, hey, don't forget in 10 minutes. And his second picture he sent was him with a "Make America Great" sweatshirt on again.
I'm trying to tell you, man, Jahar Abraham works for Donald Trump.
There
Most definitely.
there were so many people on that post like, what did you have? Why did you have it? Why did you get that? I was like, I had to take it down. It was too much because people were going.
He loved it.
I know he loves it. I know he loves it. He loves it. I told him, I was like, man, we can't get into politics on the show.
Hey, they put that on his birthday cake. Make America Great Again. I said, Jahar, I'm not eating that cake.
Yeah, I wouldn't come anywhere.
But nah, that's my man. Also, we got another group that I'm a part of, and that's headed by Rashid and Jam and Jeff, Rashid, Nika Ray, Tasha, and it's another thing that we trying to build some artists over there, little management company. So
okay,
it's a lot of stuff. I'm gonna let you know about that too.
All right, that's what's up. Well, Coop, thanks for coming on, man. You broken the record of the longest. I knew it was going to be. I'm not surprised, but because I knew we were going to get into it like we always do, not in a bad way, in a good way. But thank you for being cool with the shades on the whole time. Thank you for having good Wi-Fi. I appreciate you, man. We'll definitely talk soon. It's always love, and thanks for coming on, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Man, thank you. Peace, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another edition of Gogotalx, brought to you by GoGoTix. I am your host. Let me get this banner off here. Please do me a favor. Right down below, subscribe, and then click that little bell icon. The little bell icon will let you know when the new episodes are coming up. I do these every Wednesday through Friday. Next week is going to be dope. I have Chris Richards, who is the pop critic from the Washington Post, who's been very supportive of GoGo throughout the years. I have Justin Yadia, the guy that's been putting on the Mochellas, and the third one is escaping me right now, but you can find out all of the upcoming shows at GoGoTix.co. So just go to GoGoTix.co. And also, please make sure you get your GoGo as fuck t-shirts. You can see them right. I always go the wrong way. You can see them right here. GoGoTix.co/shop. Thank you very much, Rob. Appreciate it, man. He said he was tripping for that sweater. I know it's funny. He kept telling me how hot it was. I'm like, why you got a sweatshirt on? And it's crazy. But anyway, that was a great interview with Coop. Thank you so much to him. And thank you, everybody, for staying for the whole 2.5 hours. That's officially the longest interview we've done so far. So make sure to tune in next Wednesday. Find the schedule at GoGoTix.co. Subscribe and click the bell icon, and get your GoGo as fuck t-shirt right now at GoGoTix.co/shop. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.